Detox. How often have you heard the effects of this magic pill that increases concentration, returns mental flexibility and cheerfulness like when you were a child, improves sleep quality, motor coordination, cognitive function, and so much more? I decided to go 7 days without my smartphone, and I'll tell you how I felt right now. The day before experiment, I'd been watching videos non-stop all day, and my brain was overloaded and tired when I went to bed. Day 1. Not getting dopamine stimulation from my phone feels unfamiliar, like the phone is already a part of my body, perhaps even more important than my arm or my ear. That's how integral the phone has become to my life. And many of you too, that said the first day of detox seems like something that's even necessary. To take a break from the amount of videos I've watched and sort through my thoughts. On enthusiasm, it seems like it's possible, even through any time I'm bored. I want to turn on my phone, and spoiler, I was bored all the time. On first day it was pretty easy. Day 2, I started to wonder why I needed it. And there are 2 reasons why people do dopamine detoxes. The first one, procrastination. You're always procrastinating, and you said you didn't have the time to do any task, and now you want to fix it. The second one, meditation. You want to distract yourself to get your head in order. And meditation doesn't mean sitting aimlessly in lotus position for hours, thinking that's how you are gonna realize Zen. It's about being in a state of mindlessness and be in the present moment. Personally, I've never been able to do that during that challenge. So the second reason you're detoxing is to take more time, to spend more time on your own thoughts and feelings, instead of watching videos of that fancy life on the internet and being jealous, while you have a chance to fulfill your desires. Of course, if you have the most valuable skill of the 21st century, it's focus. And that explains the words of the great psychologist and educator, Dale Carnegie. When they asked why he was so successful, he said, "I can keep my attention on one thing for 5 minutes, while the rest of us can only hold it for 15 seconds. Day 3. I did the 10,000 steps that are recommended for health, which is not easy for me, both mentally and physically. My back hurts a lot after 20 minutes of walking, and if I stand still even after 10 minutes, with a sedentary lifestyle and weak willpower. Day 4. Although I was skeptical on the first day, I was justified and felt even more skeptical this day. If you are doing a dopamine detox, it's not to remove distractions and keep your attention on the important things in your life and do what you've been putting off. It's as useless as spending all day on your phone if you don't put your mind on what's important to you. I mean, if you're waiting for the day to end, only for starting another day, it's as dumb as scrolling through a social media videos. The only difference is that without a phone and a lot of notifications, it's less stressful on your nervous system. I was only eating and sitting, and that's it, nothing else. I didn't feel like reading a book when I put my phone away. It was impossible to start anything I put off, even though I am really bored. Even if I suffer from boredom, I'll continue to suffer. I'm certainly not gonna pick up a book or do something useful, because in my head I forced myself to do it. And if I didn't, I blamed myself, because even though I set aside the time to do it, I'm still not doing something useful. So if I don't do it, I'm cluttering up my head with thoughts of how useless I am, or thoughts of meaninglessness. For example, during the few days of detox, I didn't think about thinking up funny jokes. First of all, because my thoughts weren't in that direction, and second, because it requires brainstorming, and that automatically creates an obstacle, because the brain is too lazy, and I couldn't even engage even the easiest dialogue. I never could. The time allotted was spent on self-abuse. If your goal during detox is to spend time without your phone, because you saw it on your favorite blogger's video, then you've failed. Yet if you set aside time to do something useful, and you actually do it, this specific allotment time, then you're in luck. It's all about mindset. If you have a negative mindset, you're never gonna see positive changes. It's like when you're at work, you think about work, and when you come home, you still think about work, and you want to not think about it, and try to trick yourself into watching the videos or series. And every time you are not engrossed, or you pause the video, you are thinking about work again, although that time should be spent on yourself, and it's late in the evening. You couldn't enjoy the movie, because in your head you're thinking these words, back to work tomorrow again. And it's not even tomorrow yet, and your head is already full of this shit. I have similar thoughts about what a loser I am. After a few days of detox, my life didn't get better, it's still the same. The only difference is that during the dopamine fast, I blamed and hated myself. Not in between flipping through shorts videos, yet on purpose for 3 days. 3 days of purposeful self-loathing. I'm sorry, I should have said that. My point is that with the unhappy mindset, your faith in yourself and the good life is at zero, and without faith there's no self-deception. And self-deception is placebo. If you don't believe, it won't work on you. That includes affirmations. As much as you tell yourself in the front of the mirror that you're successful or rich, it's not gonna make you more successful. Because in real life there's no proof of your success. For example, I would believe that I'm funny if I saw people laughing at my jokes. Yet science, I don't see any validations for my actions, in the form of that kind of stimulation. My picture of the world falls apart, and when I don't get what I expect out of life, I'm miserable. And my belief that I'm actually making a funny joke fades into oblivion. So self-deception isn't going to help you. Neither will detoxing. The only thing that detox will help you with is that your nervous system won't be aroused. Every single time you pick up your phone or get a notification, like a dog's saliva in Pavlov's experiment. When a bell rings, the dog got used to the food. Day 5. I had a strong desire to watch the videos, because this day was even more boring than usual. I was starting to realize that I was right, and it's not working for me. And yet on this day I thought maybe it's an interesting idea about detoxing, and show it to the rest of the world. And the hardest part of it was getting from idea to action. I really resisted the idea of writing a scenario, because I don't have smart thoughts or the charisma. If to be honest, I'm using a translator for every word, because my English is so bad. Write scenario also seemed very difficult, and I didn't really want to do it, yet I did it, hoping that it would help me get my head straight, instead of keeping in my head. And it doesn't even fit the theme of my channel, and like I said earlier, I didn't want it bad enough to start writing a script. And what's more, so I didn't have to edit the video. I only shot on my phone walking down the road. I was holding the phone in my hand, and editing can be a very labor-intensive process. I once had a situation while I'm editing a video. I'm tired and it becomes uninteresting. Like homework assignment in school years that you don't feel good about and you don't want to do it at all, because there's a big difference between wanting and needing. When you want to do something, you'll do it no matter what, except for something like believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself and your strength, you won't take action. Even discipline won't help. I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. And when you act on the word need, even if you take on the task at hand, you'll hate the process. Also on day 5, I was really anxious in bed, because I felt more bored than usual, even if I could go online in 2 clicks, and at the same time, I realized that it wouldn't help me. It's as pointless as putting out a fire with gasoline. It was either anxiety, or rather not wanting to face the thoughts, that I couldn't come up with creative ideas, and I thought if I detoxed, I'd have a lot of creativity, which I really wanted. And honestly, that's my main goal for the detox. Even though there's only 2 days left in 7, I was terrified of the next day, and because I was so anxious, I didn't know what to do, and I went out to eat right in the late afternoon, and later I was able to sleep. If to be honest, I don't really remember the first day of the challenge, because the idea to explain my thoughts in the video came on day 5, so I didn't record the details. And I'm not sure I remember, because my memory is worse than a goldfish's. Day 6. Held my phone for 18 minutes to film the road for this video. And that's all I can say about the day. Day 7. Morally, it was easier than I expected, because I knew it was the last day of the challenge. I dreamed about people from the past more than usual, especially my school years, and how I make funny jokes there. Well, it wasn't really funny. Plus, when I woke up, I'd instantly forget everything. much less forget my unfunny attempts at humor. I guess the dreams about the past were caused by the fact because my brain was bored, and it took information from the past instead of the videos that I'd been clogging my head before detox. Also that day, after walking 15,000 steps, I felt an emptiness in my gut, not in my stomach, exactly in my gut. Also, I had a craving for sugar, and I ate it. I think the feeling of emptiness in my gut was because my metabolism became a little bit better and digesting food faster. 2 of those days I went by myself and the rest with my sister, because it's impossible for me to go alone. I'm scared of being alone even when I'm at home. I also don't go anywhere unless I see a purpose or meaning with a positive outcome, like if I had to go to the store and I am lazy. I'll only go if I have a goal with a certain distance. Let's say that the store was even really close to home. If I didn't have a goal, I would never go anywhere. As a quick trick, you can set yourself a goal to buy any product at the store or some sweets to give you an incentive to go. If anything, I've been walking for 7 days, because sitting in one place, like the monks do, it's impossible for me. It's like a superhuman ability to sit in the same place or in the same room for a long time, like Mr. Beast did. Yeah, I'm making the most popular blogger on the planet even more popular. He didn't even have a treadmill in his room. He'd walk in circles and count rice out of boredom. You can go crazy under those conditions. I'm not even talking about how he spent 7 days in a coffin. I don't advise you to repeat such a thing. First of all, he did it under the care of qualified doctors. Secondly, he's a content maker, and at least he's getting paid for it. You are not getting anything, except the risk of mental illness, since the video is indirectly about walking. It's an interesting fact that a person takes about 150 million steps in a lifetime, and Mr. Beast has 300 million followers, which is twice as many as I walk in a lifetime, and I actually walk even less than the average person, considering I have health problems. And I am really lazy. I've spent 12 of my 22 years of life in bed, so I chose to walk because it's a really boring activity, step by step, step by step. Only you and the road. If you choose to walk too, take the boring route, not where there's a lot of cars or buildings. It's distracting. Also, don't listen to music with headphones on, because that way you'll be concentrating on the music. It's almost like watching a video. Some people can't even shower without music in the background. Personally, I've almost been hit by a car with headphones on, provided the music was playing softly. I tried walking with music for the first time, and the same day I almost got hit by a car. It's better to enjoy music in a quiet environment. Either you enjoy the rhythm and the lyrics, or your mind will wander, and the music in the background won't make sense. Yes, walking without headphones can be difficult. Well, my particular experience with headphones has proven to be hazardous to my health. Also, all the days of the challenge, I woke up at 10 AM. Because I don't have a goal of getting up early, and it's winter and the house is dark most of the day, and by 4 PM it's completely dark. Even though my body didn't want to sleep and I was rolling around in bed, I still wouldn't get up. As for phone use, more than 1 hour a day I use Telegram, because I've developed a bad habit of playing Telegram bots to try get an airdrop. And I say bad habit because I was wasting a lot of time, like 7 months, and only made $1 or maximum $15. Because I was bored, I ate a lot. To avoid overeating, I was eating sunflower seeds, because it's almost impossible to overeat sunflower seeds. And yet since I've been doing it all day long, it's not good, because it's constant release of gastric juices. Now, back to the subject of discipline, or as I might put it, detoxing as a healthy habit. Healthy habits alone don't get you closer to your goal, or give you an advantage over those who are doing the right things towards the goal. Even if you spend your entire day doing healthy habits that don't move you toward your goal, they don't make sense, like getting up early, meditating, reading books, and so on. If it's all about action for action's sake, it's not going to work. like reading a book, and you don't put the information into practice in real life, it's useless. That's what I'm doing with my English studies, and it's really annoying, and I don't feel good about myself. A useful habit is the only thing it gives you, only a little bit of discipline. If you have the discipline to do 30 push-ups every day, then you have the discipline to do that particular habit, and the other habits don't have the power of discipline. So you have the discipline to do the push-ups that you've been doing for a long time, yet to do English for 1 minute, you don't have the discipline. It's absurd and really frustrating. The discipline itself is also meaningless without a clear plan. The conclusions I draw for myself, specifically from the detox program, are 2 criteria and my main goal. The first criteria, moral wellness. At the beginning of the challenge, my score was 4 out of 10. Now it's a 5 or 6 out of 10. Second criterion, physical health, was 5 out of 10, became 7 out of 10. And only on the last day, I had a terrible backache through the previous 6 days. As for my primary goal, it's creativity. Unfortunately, my wish never came true. I never came up with a single joke during the challenge. Again, it all depends on your mindset. If you're unhappy no matter what you do, starting with taking vitamins, equalizing hormones, healthy habits, affirmations, to exercising or winning $1 billion, you're not gonna get better if the problem is in your head and your reaction to the world. And for your reaction to be positive, you need facts to back it up, like if you are beautiful and people tell you so, and you see the opposite in the mirror, you can fool your eyes, and no amount of self-deception will help. Also, there's the other way around. If you are beautiful and one person criticizes you, it doesn't really matter. When 50 people say it, you doubt it. When 1000 people say, you already believe their words. To convince yourself that everything depends on your reactions to the world, you can read a book by Viktor Frankl called Say Yes to Life, where the protagonist is in a concentration camp. It's a specially equipped center of mass forced confinement, and in those life-altering conditions, the author somehow found the joys of life. And the main idea is that it doesn't matter what even happens to you, it's how you react to it. I don't know how that's even possible. I can do that no matter how hard I try. Personally, I didn't finish read it because I couldn't grasp the depth of his philosophy. As long as I'm unhappy, I can give happiness to others, or convince myself otherwise if it's not so. I would be grateful if you could express your support, share your detox experience, or express your opinion on any of the topics covered in the video. That's all I wanted to say. See you next time.